Welcome back to Slice of Life, episode Sweet 16. It's a special one. We're here with my dad, doing an intro, sit down, talk business, talk history. What do you say? Go grab a Stromboli?
Let's grab one.
Special episode Sweet 16. We are here with none other than my dad. We're going to be talking business, the history of Little Italy, his involvement in it, how we got to where we are today, and we'll be enjoying some great food later. Thanks for joining us. This is a special episode because, I'm excited to hear about your involvement in the business and what that history was like for you. So I want to start back in the 80s. You graduated in 1984. So what was working in the business like in high school and directly after high school? Because it started in 79, so that was only about 5 years of it being open, so while you were in high school. So what was that like?
Well, I was in 8th grade, and it was a journey. We opened at 4 after I got out of school. We worked until 11, and on the weekends we worked until midnight. Had a lot of learning processes through the time. Had a lot of fun, treated it like it was a hobby opposed to a job. I didn't work a day in my life for 35 years. Just enjoyed being with the people that we had on our staff.
Team at the time, how many people worked there roughly?
Starting out, we had 6. It was family operated. The only person out of the family was an older gentleman. His name was Foxy, and he drove a 66 Mustang for deliveries. And he showed us how to deliver pizza around town and was really good at it for being 76 years old. That's why we called him Foxy. Everybody ended up with nicknames around here. That's just the way it was. Became family.
So you started working at the pizza place. You were in high school.
It was Bodino's when we started. I started day 1. Me, Scott Brown, and Gary Safford.
So Gary was like a brother to you. Can you talk more about Gary and kind of what his involvement was in the restaurant?
Gary was a gentle giant. He had a personality that lit up the room. He was a big man. Everybody loved him. Big shoes to fill.
What would you say that his impact on customers were?
He personalized it. He was merciful and peaceful. He made it feel like home.
There's a lot of people on the journey of Little Italy where we think it was started in the 80s, well really the 70s, the 60s as a grocery store. And a lot of people that are no longer with us throughout that journey that have had a big impact on the customers or the other employees that work there.
Yeah.
What would you say, if you were to say one thing to all of the people that have worked there in the past, that maybe no longer with us or that are still with us, what would you say that their impact has been on the community?
Their impact has been huge. They've done well. We brought them up to be organized, prompt, and thoughtful. Always bring that to the table. An older gentleman named Al Brewington from Belkenhausen out of North Carolina was a good friend of mine. And he taught me one thing, is to be personable with people. And that would be any type of advertising, because the word of mouth is the best kind of advertising that you could ever have. And I never did advertise one day for 30 years. being that I was happy with what I had and the way I approached it. I don't know. It's a lot of hard.
So, you talk about like advertising and, contentment. Like one of the words that stuck out that you mentioned, like you were content with what you had. What would you say that not advertising had an impact on the business in a positive way? Because, you said it was like homey and everybody knew each other. So what kind of impact, I would say, what kind of impact did that have on the business in a negative or positive way?
Well, in a positive, negative way, my customers were eating in the kitchen with me. We were family, and I was open to whatever the customer needed.
I hear so many people oftentimes say that you always invited them back in the kitchen to make them up something special. Somebody told a couple of weeks ago that you were making a dish and the fire flew up and almost burnt their eyebrows. So, what kind of impact do you think that had on the customer and their memories of the restaurant?
That sounds like it was Bob the Mint. He always wanted something different, so I brought him back and made him a great Alfredo out of nothing that we had to make Alfredo, but man, he loved it. I just had a good time. It's about being with the customer for me.
So let's go back to the late 60s, early 70s as a grocery store. How old were you when it was a grocery store? What were you doing when it was a grocery store?
When it was a grocery store as a kid, I remember I was stocking shelves and running the cash register and doing stuff in the back in the meat department. And Sunday was my day to open and run the store. I did that up until the age of 12, 14. Then at a certain point, me and some of my friends, one particular was Jay Clanfith. We loved motorcycles, and he was a great motorcycle rider. And well, we got one running one morning, and he decided to show me how to ride it through the restaurant and jump it off the back porch. That was a memory that always stuck with me, and so I did things like that. It was just wild and crazy times, and we had good times.
So, my experience growing up in the business, like as early as I can remember, you always said something about Gary Coleman or something. If you can't make pizzas faster than Gary Coleman, you can't work here or whatever.
Yeah.
You obviously grew up in the grocery store and then into the pizza place. What would you say that lessons that you learned from grandma and grandpa would be? Or your mom and dad, right?
My lesson is to release the power. I don't want you to be under my thumb. I think that it's kind of like that song, Under My Thumb. I let you do what you wanted to do, and I'm proud of you, son.
Thank you. So, obviously, you spent a lot of time in the business with grandma and grandpa, running things. What would you say that you learned from them specifically?
Good, hard day's work. For me, it was getting up in the morning, stocking the truck, make sure I had everything that I needed for the day. I would slice everything. I would do everything by hand, make the dough. It was just about presenting my food for people to eat, for me. And they enjoyed it. I hope they did.
So, I think a lot of family businesses, specifically restaurants, I've met so many restaurant owners from across the country that it's a very similar story about the transition of legacy through generation. And a lot of it, shares a lot of same concern, but also same wins through that process that, we kind of all have that kind of same upbringing. What would you say is one of the core things that you think through that transition of ownership / legacy? What was that process like? What were some of the easy things? What were the hard things?
Tough transition. I mean, the good things are that I'm not stressed about somebody showing up for work and having to cover their shift. But I miss that, just like for being back there for the few minutes I had to make a pizza. I just miss it. I love being in the trench, and so to speak, and I live for that. So the transition, I'm glad we made it. That's all I can say. I mean, it was a tough journey to get to where we're at. We're here.
What was tough about it?
I don't want to go there. Yeah, just need to get your ducks in a row. Let's just say that. So we got our ducks in a row, and now we're just gonna watch them sway.
What would you say has been the hardest thing of letting go and seeing it change from what it was to what it is now?
For me, it's just the labor. The hardest thing letting go was laboring, and I enjoyed it. Being in the kitchen and in the grind, it was just me.
What have you been doing in your spare time now?
Oh, I've been riding motorcycles and playing hard. Getting ready to go fishing next month if you want to go.
Yeah.
We can go.
You're going to Lake Erie again?
No, I'm going to go to Tennessee.
Okay.
And go to Greg's place.
Are you going to get sick on the boat the whole time?
No, he's got some big boats. He's got big boats.
We got some food.
This is our new food. Thank you, darling.
Thanks, Amy.
It's good. And all the new plates are just, I'm impressed. Yeah, it looks good.
Obviously, for Father's Day, we're taking a lot of pride in our relationship with our fathers today. I want the two of you to kind of exchange a proudest moment. So, Avery, what would you say is a moment where you felt extreme pride and gratitude for your father specifically? A moment where it was so clear to you that you were so proud to be his son.
I think it's like, watching, because in the earlier years, like, working in the kitchen, I was 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. You had me up on milk crates. And then every summer, I'd be at grandma's house and I'd come to work a little bit until you kicked me out. Get out, because I'd cause too much ruckus. But watching you interact with customers was unlike anything I've ever seen. And that's a lot of what I've taken from you, is like how you've gotten to know each and every single customer as if they were your friend, a bit about their family, what they ate, something in the past. You kind of always shared memories and moments with them, whether they were dining in or taking out. People always came to see you, and that was kind of the thing, that like you were the heart and soul of that business, and you were what kind of people centered around because they enjoyed their experience with you. And that's kind of one thing that we talk about now, is like creating lasting memories worth sharing. And although when I wanted to expand the business and grow it, it wasn't possible for it to be one singular person that creates that experience. How do we get our entire team to embody that same core value and, taking care of one another through love and fun and being of service? And I think our team out here in the front of house specifically does a really great job of that, of creating lasting memories with the customer that are worth sharing for them. Like you said, person to person, face to face, the word of mouth is the best form of advertisement there can be. But, creating lasting memories worth sharing. I think that's kind of where I pulled that from, was like watching you create those lasting memories with customers that they went and told other people about because of the experience that you and the team down there provided.
What about you, Nick? What would you say is one of your proudest moments looking at Avery and all he's been able to accomplish, everything you guys have accomplished together? What would you say is one of those moments where you were just like, man, I'm so proud of this boy?
His hospitality, it speaks in volumes. He's got a knack for his employees. He cherishes them and gives them a format to work off of, and gives them a way to get ahead and learn how to make yourself better. It's about bettering yourself, and he's taken it to a whole different level. To be a hole-in-the-wall restaurant, to coming in here and seeing this first-class service is just, that's my proudest moments.
Thank you.
So we've transitioned the menu, we've added some new items, we've kept the core staples. A lot of the core staples is still there. What would you say is your favorite thing on the menu?
The new menu, I'm really liking the shrimp Alfredo. The shrimp are just so big, and it's a good meal. We've taken it a step above, I believe, with the homemade noodles and the homemade sauces. You're doing such a good job. It's good stuff. You gotta try it.
Our team of 84 accomplished that. They do a really great job. What would you say is like the OG menu item that you would say is your favorite one?
I gotta stick with the monster sub. I just do. It's just.
Where did that come about?
That's from Chuck. He wanted a sub with all the meats, and so he put it together one night. We added the sauce on top of it, and it was a showstopper. Just like one day, old Andy Whipple, he said, "Hey, let's make a sausage spaghetti and put it out there and see how it does." And then the first day, we sold out I had 100 plates of spaghetti, and we sold that out in one day, and it was a hit ever since.
Yeah.
A hot Italian sausage. Yeah.
I know for us it's been that way. Like a lot of the ideas that come about through the menu are like employee creations, where they make their own little something, and then they're like, "This is so good," and they love it, and they get everybody to try it, and then it ends up becoming, front and center to show on the menu.
Yep. And then Kurt Laird, you got to come and try a new shot of this sauce. Let me know what you think.
So I think for me, like one of the biggest things that you've taught me is like working hard and having a hard way of doing things in some way, shape, or form. Because in the early stages, I think with the older generation specifically, grandma, right? Like your worth a lot of times is valued based upon how hard you work, and how much labor you put in. What would you say about that?
Worth is only what worth is worth. What is worth really worth? I mean, it was worth for me in my heart and soul to come in and provide a good meal, because that's what I did. I was in the hospitality business, and I wanted to be hospitable to my customer and show them what I had to offer. And again, it was never a job for me. It was always, I can do that, and then I did it. So for me, it was a challenge to see how far I could push myself. Yeah. At the end, it was like me and 12 people, I think. That's how it was.
Yeah. So the calzone's new. It's not a new item that we introduced just on the last menu release. We've never made something like this, obviously, down the street. Let's try it out, see what you think. We've got our Strom sauce, and then you asked for some marinara to come with it. So we'll try both.
Yep. You call it Strom?
Strom sauce. It's a special concoction.
Mm-hmm. That's good. What is that?
Strom sauce. I can't tell. The camera's rolling.
I like that. Who came up with that sauce? You put that on a pizza?
No, you haven't tried that yet. Probably should. I was throwing some things together, and it was really good. And then Winslow came over. He's like, "Let's try adding this to it." And we added that, and then everybody tried it again, and like, oh, that's it.
Spaghetti sauce is really good too.
Which one would you say is your favorite?
I don't know. I've been liking that red sauce there lately for some reason. Haven't been able to stop eating it. You know how we got on Rickenbacker?
What's that?
This is how we got on Rickenbacker. Okay.
Hold on, you got to finish chewing it first.
So when we first started delivering, to get on the base at Rickenbacker, you had to go through the guards. Well, Bruce Smith was like, I can take that delivery for you. So him and we take a delivery. And I said, oh, I know where I'm going. I'll get you there. And we're driving. Next thing I know, we go over these parking lot dividers. And the car went over a little bump. We thought it was a bump in the road. Well, next thing you know, we're in the middle of the flight line. And here comes all the police. They come and take out everything out of our car and said, okay, you guys are good. And then they left with our pizza. So then we had to put the car back together and go back and get another pizza to take it back out to the base. But ever since then, we were on the base, good to go. It was great adventure. We met up with the 121st and started catering to them.
So the 121st actually took you up in the air on like some experience. I remember. What was that like? What happened? What'd they do?
We went up on the refueler and we refueled the jet. It was an awesome experience, and I believe Rooster was one of the flight jet pilots, and Joe Contino might have been one of them. It was a great experience to do that, see that.
Well, I think that talks about talking about like the hospitable moments and you taking care of your people, that your customers like they were your family, and being able to do experiences like that because you built that connection with them and got to know them.
Oh yeah, I had a great time. It was a memorable day. I don't think I'll ever forget it.
Let's go back to the early years again. Getting started, having a very small team. Obviously, like we've grown a lot in the last, year and a half, going from 43 down there to 82 now. You had a team of what, like 10, 12?
12, I think, at the end.
What was working with a team like of that size, and kind of what was the environment like on that team?
I believe that they were with us for 20 years. We never had anybody quit in that time frame. It was like they were our family. I spent more time with them than I did with you. And hopefully these days we'll spend more time together than we do the shop. And a learning experience from past is that every day you wake up, it'll still be here. So try to enjoy every day. That's what we do.
Restaurants are a labor of love. There's a lot of time that goes into them, a lot of love, a lot of energy, a lot of creativity, a lot of resources, a lot of people. What would you say as being a longtime restaurant owner? What was that like? What went into it? What do you celebrate? What do you regret about it?
For me, it was about the vendors. Of course, your ideas come from them, and their accomplishments on the new foods that are coming out and the way to present them, and just give yourself ideas every year on how to bring something different to the table. And again, you gotta have a passion for it. It's all about passion.
Talk about personally your experience of the time that you put into the restaurant. What do you celebrate about that? But also, what do you regret from the amount of time that you put into the restaurant?
I have no regrets, Avery. I'm happy with the way things turned out. And now it's your turn. I, I've did what I can do, and this is not an old man sport anymore. I'll tell you that. It's a young guy's game, and
It's a numbers game.
it's a numbers game. And I was good at the numbers.
Yeah.
A lot of it for me was just to know my equipment and to know my people and try to give them the best advice I could give them on my daily experiences, on how I perceived my job that I was doing for that day. Knowing that I've done every job in the house, I try to enlighten them on how to endure that experience no matter what it is. But at the end of the day, you got to enjoy what you do. And I did. I loved it.
2017 was a rough year. What was that like for you, going through that experience of...
I don't remember.
Well, okay, so, one day you came to work, you were there, you ended up having an issue with your, brain where you were on the floor, Rick found you. What was that transition for you like of that experience? That comes from the work, that comes from the time, right?
Yeah.
The business.
That was an enduring time to work yourself through that experience and to try to accomplish all this on top of it on a daily without the support system that you needed to drive you came to you, me coming to you saying, I can't do this no more. It's just too much for one person to do, and you took it and ran with it. And the thing that you did different that I didn't do was empower your help to do their jobs and to perform it with excellence.
One thing we always say, I look back on where the business was and how we got it to where we are, and one of the biggest pieces of it is systems and like you said, empowering people through systems and getting them to understand what their job is, how to do it, more importantly, by when. And one of the things that you kind of always did is you wanted your hand on everything. You were the only one that made the sauce, and you were the only one who made the dough and the noodles, and it was yours. Only you could tell if it was right. Only you were making it.
Yeah.
And so a big part of that comes because you wanted it to be consistent because you wanted to be the only guy handling it. All that can be systemized through, again, explaining to people, what the process is, how to do it, more importantly, by when. What would you say seeing that come to life through what we've built here has done for, the business?
Oh, it's huge, and just the amount of love that you put into it is the final product, They gotta love it. I mean, it's just, to do this work is not easy.
Yeah.
And to get the mentality and the demeanor of the person behind the product is the challenge that we deal with on a daily, but you got to think to yourself, how do I make it a better, easier, try to give them tricks of the trade as they go, like your brother used to do. He'd give them the big and then try to adjust them and let them know that this is the way we do it. He always stop them and correct them.
Yeah.
When he seen them doing wrong, and we've learned a lot from that because that's how we operate. I'll try to assist.
I forgot about Aaron's. It was so annoying.
Yeah, but you know what? It kept everybody on.
It did.
And he was able to manage the kitchen with ease and easy flow, and with his backbone Pat there, that was that was the key factor. Is those two together were a dynamic duo. You got to have that energy, positive.
Yeah, I think one thing that still rings true, and a lot of people, I think of like John, for example, he always says this, and it's something that you say, and he picked it up from you. Passion. You gotta have passion.
Yes.
And when you see a dish come out, you're like, that's passion. There's a lot of labor that goes into it, like you said, and they've got to enjoy it, and they've got to have passion for hospitality and serving others like family. And I think one thing that a lot of our team now has is that, because they get that full picture. They understand that it's more than just pizza. It's a legacy, but also it's an experience that it provides the guest in the dining room or at home, because food brings people together.
It does. And you never know who you're serving until you get to know them.
We just served the Bengals last week.
Yeah.
I learned that after they ate.
Yes.
We fed the Bengals team out at the Air Force Base. They came and did something, and the whole football team was there. But we learned it after.
Yeah.
That'd have been nice to know before.
Yeah, exactly. You just never know until you involve yourself, and the person on the other side is just as excited to be here as we are, because they wouldn't have been coming to our door if they didn't, So our door's open to them to provide a good service.
When you think about it, pizza's all about bringing people together. The real fun happens when it's shared by many. That moment the pizza is placed on the table and eager hands appear from every direction to help themselves. Since 1979, it's more than just pizza, it's our legacy. What do you think about when you hear that?
I think that I'm really proud that we get to carry it on to the next generation and see the future, I'm excited for you. You got the food truck going. I'm excited. Anytime I could ever help out, you just let me know. I'll be there, I hope you know that.
Well, I want to thank you for joining us on a special episode of The Slice of Life. I think, one of the things I'm most grateful for is the legacy that you've helped maintain, you helped create, you've passed down, and the impact that has on so many people. I don't think either one of you completely understand that impact, because there's so often, I don't know if you've had it when you travel outside of the state, but I've met so many people from across all of the country that like somehow, some way, they've been to the restaurant or they've heard about it. And I just want to thank you for allowing that to happen, because you carried on the legacy.
Great. Well, thank you for bringing us into the future and keeping us in the future and bringing us forward in today's world. It's a challenge, and you're doing a great job of it. I hope it keeps up. Just off the bigger and better things, and time to enjoy some of it.
That's it. When do you stop? That's what I need to learn. When do I stop?
Stop when you're happy.
Yeah.
I was always happy, so it didn't matter.
Thanks so much for joining us this week on The Slice of Life. This was an awesome episode. Such a great opportunity to sit down with my dad, talk business, talk history, talk about his journey. Such a long journey, and we have this series of Groveport Greats, and this is definitely one of those. So much love, energy, tears, sweat that's gone into a business here in Groveport, and just appreciate you joining us along that journey. Go on YouTube, like, subscribe, catch us on YouTube. That's where this series is going to live. We'd love to have you join us every single week. Episodes drop every Wednesday.